Thanks for staying with us. I'm Laura Ingraham, and in the Unresolved Problem segment tonight, a controversial new internet ad featuring kids talking about the dangers of gay marriage. Take a look.
Grandma, my teacher says if Grandpa was a girl, it's okay. You can still be married.
If we change the definition of marriage,
God created Adam and Eve. That was so old-fashioned.
our kids will be taught a new way of thinking.
He should have created Anna and Eve. If my dad married a man, who would be my mom? I'm confused.
Marriage is between a man and a woman.
It's a powerful ad, but critics say it exploits children. And with us now is Wendy Wright from Concerned Women for America, and from New York, Michelangelo Signorile, who's a commentator on gay issues. And Michelangelo, I want to start with you on this because, look, I have a problem using kids in any ads on really controversial topics. I mean, that's just me. I mean, yet I guess this debate for a lot of people is about, you know, the role of the family and the makeup of the family and about children. So the argument would be, if it's about children, why not hear from children?
Well, I think that using children for any issue, I agree with you, is exploiting them. And I think it shows a desperation on the part of the people who are opposed to marriage for gays and lesbians. I mean, they're losing at a swift pace. There is state after state making marriage legal. And now it seems like this desperate attempt to drag kids into it when, in fact, all of the polling shows the younger people are, in terms of young adults right now, even among Christian evangelicals, the more likely they're to support marriage for gays and lesbians. So it's desperate, and I think it's also, it just betrays what's going on in the country.
Michelangelo, I'm not sure if you're aware that there is a push to have this It Takes a Family video in curricula in California. There's a big controversy in Alameda, California about this. And in this video that's shown to kids, young kids who have same-sex parents talk about their parents. And so the other side in that case is saying, oh, you're exploiting children. So you know, both sides are saying the other side is exploiting children, on the gay side and on the people who are supporting traditional marriage. I think both sides have done this, and I don't like it when anyone does this. Wendy, look, is it not manipulative to use kids? I mean, when people complain in smoking ads and like kids standing over the grave of a parent, that's manipulative. Well, how do you answer that?
Well, if the question is whether the children in the ad should not have been doing that, talking about it in an ad versus dealing with it in real life is the difference between being in a bumper car versus a NASCAR race. Kids are going to have to deal with same-sex unions. We'd rather it be in a controlled environment like an ad where the parents can explain the context to them. But the reality is, and this is just a diversion, this controversy over the ad, same-sex advocates claim that same-sex marriage unions won't affect anyone but themselves. These ads bring home the reality that marriage does affect all of society. It affects kids. Primarily, it'll be taught to kids in schools. We saw that in California, where a kindergarten teacher took her class on a field trip.
All right, Michelangelo, go ahead.
When kids are confused about things, you explain it to them. It's an ad that shows kids being confused. Well, kids are confused about a lot of things. They're confused about what the sun does up in the sky. They're confused about divorce, too. Why does daddy suddenly have a new wife? But I don't see these people putting ads on about that. If you explain to kids that there are gay people in the world and they have loving families and they have children, too, kids will accept it. They will understand it.
It's the parents that have the responsibility and the duty to explain things to their children. But when same-sex marriage is allowed, it's taught in the schools. We saw this in California. A kindergarten teacher took 5- and 6-year-olds on a field trip to her same-sex union ceremony in Massachusetts. A father went to a school and simply asked that he be informed before his kindergarten child was taught about homosexuality, and he was arrested and jailed. That's the kind of thing that parents are now facing. Parents like to be able to explain this in the context of their morality, not have it forced upon their kids in schools or in society.
And Michelangelo, the movement for same-sex unions is pretty well funded across the United States, and I agree with you that it's without a doubt in some areas gaining strength and probably popularity in some circles. But because it's so well funded, don't you think that, I mean, should you take any First Amendment rights away from the people who disagree, because obviously they have a right to speak out too, and you might not like an ad, but that's kind of the way it goes now in this culture. People can put up internet ads and make their points.
Of course, people should be able to speak out and speak their mind on this issue no matter what, and they certainly are. And I just want to say the movement against marriage is much more highly funded, against marriage for gays and lesbians, than the marriage equality movement. I mean, we've had Christian evangelical organizations for years working against the gay movement, and often trying to impinge on free speech as well. So, of course, we're all for free speech. People can certainly speak their minds on this issue, but let's make sure we counter it with more speech and expose the truth. In this case, this ad is completely ineffective. Kids are confused about a lot of things. Let's talk to them, explain it to them. I think that this, again,
well, I think the parents, though, Michelangelo, the parents would say, this is what our view is, and we understand that other people have other views, but obviously the parents have a view that is held by apparently President Obama and Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton and a lot of Democrats too. It's not a Republican issue. And black ministers and evangelicals and Catholics. A lot of people believe that civil unions are one thing, but that marriage is something quite different. And so I think to characterize it as some fringe idea that intolerant people have,
Laura,
I'm not sure that's fair.
I believe, Laura, that all the people you just mentioned will be in favor of marriage for gays and lesbians in 5 years. I think you, Laura, will favor marriage. I'd like you to say right now, in 5 years, you think you'll still be against it, because I think your audience is going to change on it. The world is changing. Are you going to be in favor in 5 years?
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
we'll see.
I appreciate the challenge.
Thankfully, moral values don't change.
Well, this debate is not going anywhere. It's going to continue. And Wendy and Michael, we appreciate both of you joining us.